Have you ever wondered what happens after the happily ever after? The story of Israel's great King David feels like it should end on a high note, a triumphant crescendo. But the biblical narrative is rarely that simple. 1 Kings picks up right where things get complicated, at the end of David's life. It walks us through a dramatic, often messy history of what comes next. Soaring triumphs, crushing failures, kings who build magnificent temples, kings who build idols of gold. It is about the weight of leadership, the consequences that ripple from every choice, from the splendor of a united kingdom to a painful fracture. 1 Kings is a tale of 2 halves, hinged on a critical event, the split of the nation and the rise of the prophets. The story of 1 Kings opens not with a bang, but with the quiet fading of a giant. King David is old, weak, near death. His final days are marked by intrigue and a struggle for succession, a messy, realistic power transition. Out of the turmoil, Solomon emerges as the chosen heir. Solomon's ascent marks a new era. He inherits a kingdom unified through decades of conflict and skilled leadership. The stage is set for peace and prosperity. Israel becomes a major player known for wealth, stability, and wisdom. Unlike his father, Solomon favors peace, diplomacy, and administration, solidifying borders through wise alliances. Marriages to foreign princesses cement treaties and keep the peace. Trade routes open, wealth floods in, gold, silver, exotic woods, precious stones, flowing into Jerusalem. Solomon launches a vast building program, fortified cities, a grand palace, security and permanence. Culture and knowledge flourish. Solomon is described as wiser than anyone. He composes thousands of proverbs and songs. Dignitaries and scholars travel to hear his wisdom. The Queen of Sheba arrives with hard questions and leaves breathless at the splendor of his court. This is the peak of Israel's international influence, the crowning achievement, the temple. David's dream, realized by a man of peace. For 7 years, he marshals the finest materials and the most skilled artisans. A masterpiece overlaid with gold and filled with intricate carvings. A meeting place of heaven and earth. At the dedication, the Ark of the Covenant is brought in. The glory of the Lord fills the temple. Solomon prays for God to hear his people from this place. The temple becomes the symbol of God's presence and covenant. It is the fulfillment of a long-held promise, the high point of the nation's unity and devotion. Despite the glory, Solomon's story takes a tragic turn. 700 wives, 300 concubines, political alliances that import foreign gods. To please his wives, Solomon builds high places for their deities around Jerusalem. His heart is no longer wholly true to the Lord. He violates the covenant he once championed. God warns that the kingdom will be torn from his family. Massive projects demand heavy taxes and forced labor, especially from the northern tribes. Resentment grows. Unity begins to crack. After Solomon's death, his son Rehoboam seeks to be crowned over all Israel.
The north appeals, "Lighten the harsh labor and heavy taxes, and we will serve you."
Rehoboam rejects wise counsel and listens to arrogant friends.
He boasts he will make the burden heavier.
That prideful choice snaps the fragile peace.
The 10 northern tribes revolt. To your tents, O Israel!
The nation divides, Israel in the north, Judah in the south. The golden age ends in violence, just as God warned. Most kings do evil. God raises prophets to speak truth to power. The most prominent is Elijah, fiery, compelling. Without backstory, Elijah the Tishbite strides in and announces a drought by the word of the Lord. No dew or rain for years, a direct challenge to Baal, the storm god. Hunted by Ahab and Jezebel, Elijah goes into hiding. Ravens bring bread and meat morning and evening. He drinks from the brook until it dries. God sends him to a foreign widow about to cook a final meal for her and her son. He asks first for bread and promises her jar and jug will not run out. She risks faith, and God provides day after day. God's power is not limited by geography or politics. He provides through unexpected means. After 3.5 years, Elijah calls for a public contest on Mount Carmel. All Israel gathers, along with 450 prophets of Baal and 400 of Asherah. He rebukes their indecision, How long will you limp between two opinions? If the Lord is God, follow him. Two sacrifices, no fire. The God who answers by fire, he is God. They dance, shout, and limp around the altar, but there is no answer. Elijah taunts. Maybe he is deep in thought, busy, on a journey, or asleep. They grow frantic, even cut themselves. Still, no voice, no fire, no power. Elijah repairs the altar of the Lord and digs a trench around it. He drenches the altar with water, so much it fills the trench. No hidden trick. He prays, "Show that you are the true God, and that you are turning their hearts back." Fire from the Lord falls, consuming the offering, the wood, the stones, the dust, even the water in the trench. The people fall on their faces. The Lord, he is God. The Lord, he is God. The drought's grip begins to break. The Lord alone rules nature. From ravens to a widow's jar to fire from heaven, Elijah's faith is tested, proven, and ready for what comes next. Yet Jezebel is not converted. She threatens Elijah, and he flees, desolate. God does not rebuke him. He tenderly feeds and strengthens him. At Horeb come wind, earthquake, and fire, but the Lord is not in them. Then, a low whisper. God speaks in the quiet, corrects his despair, gives new mission, and assures him he's not alone. Elijah's mission will continue through Elisha. His life will end in a whirlwind, not a grave. 1 Kings is a saga of choices and consequences. Leadership matters. God is present when people stray. He speaks in the storm and in the stillness. Listen for that voice of guidance, comfort, and unwavering hope.